Hi guys! So I know this idea has been around for a very long time. I know that most people on YouTube already have done the how I did my makeup in high school thing, but I haven't done it, and to be honest, I think it's enjoyable and it'll be kind of fun to revisit how I looked and how I did my makeup when I was in high school. So I had kind of an evolution. Starting in 9th grade when I was wearing makeup for the first time, I did a lot of things that were really stupid. Like, even looking back on it now, I'm just like, what were you thinking? But then I kind of progressed from my freshman year to my sophomore year to my junior year to my senior year. I had 3 very different, like definitively different looks. So I'm going to start with how I did my makeup my freshman year. So freshman year I had braces, I had this like weird short wavy bob, I only wore jeans, knockoff Doc Martens, and t-shirts that had sassy sayings on them, like the ones that had that little annoying rabbit on it that said like, your face makes me throw up. I wore stuff like that, and now I can't stand those things. I think that they are like literally the epitome of ridiculous, but that's who I was as like a 14 and 15-year-old. So how I did my makeup. I'm trying to use products that I would have used back then, like very similar products, but in 9th grade, I only really wore powder foundation. And if you were around like in the kind of early to mid 2000s, you probably remember that CoverGirl pressed powder that was in a gray compact, and when you open it up there's a mirror in the top and then like the product, and there was like that weird sponge that it came with. I wore that, and that was it. Now I don't have a powder foundation, so what I'm going to be using is this Bye Bye Pores pressed powder, and this is translucent, which is actually pretty similar to the color that I got in the CoverGirl pressed powder, because so here's the deal, I'm very, very fair skinned, but I didn't really know about color matching when I was younger, and so I just assumed that since I had such fair, pale skin, what I needed to do was get the palest possible foundation that they sold, which it didn't always work for me, because every once in a while there was a foundation that was too pale for me and I wore it anyway. More on that later. But yeah, so we'll use this guy right here, and look, it even comes with this weird little sponge, so we'll use that. And I just put this pretty much all over my face. It really didn't do anything. If anything, it just kind of like made me look powdery and weird. And I would put it just everywhere. Alright, you can see that did relatively nothing, which is accurate. The powder I was wearing back then for foundation did really not do anything either. As far as other face makeup, I did not do any blush, I did not do any bronzer. People were not aware of their eyebrows back then, and so I didn't do anything with my eyebrows. I didn't wear eyeshadow, but I did take a black liner and line my waterline when I was feeling like extra cool. So that's how I did my eyes. No mascara, of course not. The goal was to make my eyes look as small as possible, so I would just line that waterline and be like, yeah, you're so cool. The final step I had as a 9th grader is I would wear a very glittery lip gloss. Now, I don't actually own a lip gloss that's super glittery the way I had like the Bonnabelle shimmer lip gloss. It came in like a little clear tube and there was like a black handle and it had a little doe foot applicator. But I do have this Lime Crime Diamond Crusher and this Victoria's Secret shimmer lip gloss. I'm going to kind of mix the two to see what I can get that looks something like what I used to wear in my freshman year. Alright, so that's as far as it went for makeup in 9th grade. I'm going to put my hair the way it used to be too, so you can really get the full effect. So there you go. Freshman Becky had on my t-shirt with an annoying saying, was carrying my backpack by one strap because I was so cool. Had a Stephen King book in my hand. That's what I read when I was a freshman. This is a look. So yeah, there you go. That's the final look for pretty much all of 9th grade. I looked like this mostly every single day. Wait till you see sophomore year and junior year. It got alarmingly different. So after freshman year, starting in like 10th grade and then a little bit more into my junior year, I started getting more into makeup, and I added an excessive amount of black eyeliner, lots of mascara, and I switched from using kind of a childish glittery lip gloss to very dark bold lipsticks. I also started using an actual foundation. I was not very good at color matching myself though, and I just thought, you know, I'm pale, so I need the lightest color there is, and that meant a lot of times that it was a little bit too light for me. So I don't have the actual foundation that I used to use, which was a powder foundation. It was really, really light on my skin, and I actually cannot remember even what the name of it was, but like you can see how pale I was. Here is a picture of me and my dad at the Minnesota State Fair. Here's a picture of me and my cousin goofing around. And then here is a picture of me looking way too proud of the Barnes & Noble gift card I received for Christmas at my grandparents' house. I also had black hair during this time, and I would straighten it every single day. So yeah, the really light skin, the black hair, lots of black eyeliner, dark lipstick was just a really interesting combination. So we'll get started with the lightest foundation I actually own, and that is my Marc Jacobs Remarkable foundation. I normally use this in the winter because that's when my skin is the absolute lightest, but it's summertime here now and I'm gonna try it out because, you know, it's gonna look way lighter than it should. I also just used my hands for this, you know. We didn't know about beauty tools back then. We didn't use sponges. There was no such thing as a foundation brush. You just did it with your hands. Oh god, that's so light. And don't worry about your eyebrows, just go right over it with the foundation. This is like the messiest thing I've ever done. Once you look like an absolute ghost, it's time for eyeliner. Lots of eyeliner. I definitely wasn't afraid of a bold black liner back then. So you just kind of go all the way around your eye as heavy as you want. At this time in my life, I was wearing a lot of black. I wore jeans and like a black shirt every single day. I had these big black boots that I would wear to school. I was like a wannabe goth kid, but I smiled too much. This look is so completely different from the look I had the next year, like my senior year in school. I was going through like a real hippie phase, and in my mind, senior year, I was the girl that Robert Plant was singing about in Going to California when he said, "There's a girl out there with love in her eyes and flowers in her hair," except I was working at a Dairy Queen in Minnesota and couldn't pass my driver's test. This look though, this is a little bit more Marilyn Manson than Robert Plant. At this time in my life, I read The Bell Jar a lot, and I also liked the book The Valley of the Dolls. This can really just be as messy as you want to make it, like it's supposed to be. Next I'm going to add mascara. I started doing that in my sophomore and junior years of high school, and I just really caked it on. This look is very much like Ali Sheedy's character in The Breakfast Club. And this would happen to me all the time. I would open my eye and I would get transfer from my liner onto my eyelid. Still nothing with the eyebrows though. Didn't do a thing to my eyebrows, like they were not a part of my face. And then we add a really dark lipstick. Now I did not have liquid lipstick back in the day. I used a tube of lipstick I got from a woman that sold Avon at my dad's job, and it was this really dark berry color, and I wore it all the time. In fact, I wore it so much that when I would go to band and play my clarinet, dark lipstick would rub off the center of my lip and onto the reed of my clarinet, and then I would have a stained reed for my clarinet, and there would be like a big open space in the middle of my lip where there was no color. So this is how I did my makeup in sophomore and junior year, and I'll take my hair down. I would straighten it every single day, and it was black. It was very, very black. Which, dyeing your hair completely black at home is a mistake, and this is a PSA to let you know not to do it, because after I decided that I didn't want to have black hair anymore, near the end of my junior year, I tried to chemically strip it at home too, and that was a disaster that ended up costing me 6 hours and $300 at a local salon to get it back to my normal color. So unless you're planning on having black hair for the rest of your life, or you're gonna grow it out until the black is completely gone, no black hair, no black hair dye. That's a bad idea. So here we go. This is terrifying. Now imagine this in your math class with you. I'm kind of glad this phase is over. Next, we're gonna go into senior year, where I transformed from this wannabe goth into the flower child that is a little more accurate to how I am now. So senior year, I finally felt like I was starting to become the person that I was supposed to be, at least makeup wise. Here is my senior picture. I I transitioned from a wannabe goth kid to a wannabe hippie kid. I rocked a lot of paisley skirts and bell bottoms. I wore homemade moccasins almost every day. I wore beaded necklaces and 1960s band t-shirts. I read a lot of Richard Brautigan's books and poetry. I was obsessed with the Magical Mystery Tour album by the Beatles and also Tommy by The Who. So come along on this journey with me and see how high school me turned into the 30-year-old yoga pants wearing hot mess mom of two you see before you today. Senior year me had finally kind of figured out how to color match, and so I started using products that looked at least somewhat similar to my skin tone. I actually have one of the products that I used to use. This is the Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse. If you didn't use this in the mid-2000s, like, were you really even a high school aged girl? I still applied it with my fingers though, which I hope that when my daughter starts wearing makeup I can teach her like the ways to apply makeup correctly and not like with your hands, but that's what I'm gonna do. Just like really work it into your pores. And then 100% make sure that you don't wash your face at night so that you get lots of random breakouts, even though you're not prone to acne. Just like get it in your eyebrows too. I was still not aware of my eyebrows at this time. So I didn't do anything to them except cover them in foundation with my hands. The next thing I had graduated to was gold eyeshadow. Now I used to play with makeup with my cousins all the time, and one time I wore gold eyeshadow and my beloved cousin told me that it looked amazing on my blue eyes, and so I had to wear it every day after that. So I would just use my finger or like the little Q-tip thing that it would come with and just, you know, kind of swipe it all over your lid. Gold eyeshadow it up. Around this time I stopped wearing so much eyeliner on my waterline because I realized that it actually was not a very good look for me. Occasionally I would take a little bit of brown liner and like lightly go over my bottom lashes, but I didn't do so much like I did, you know, sophomore and junior year. Fun fact, this is the same eyelash curler I've had since high school. I change out the insert in it, but it's the same one. Unfortunately, I don't have the mascara that I used to use. I think I like to use the CoverGirl Lash Blast. Pretty sure that's what it was called. What I do have is this L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I also never put mascara on my bottom lashes in high school, and even up until just recently, because my eyes would water throughout the day. I had a really bad seasonal allergies, and I would end up with like big raccoon circles under my eyes every single day without fail. And then finally, to top it all off, I just went with like a really simple clear lip balm. The whole dark lipstick thing for me was very 2006. I didn't really straighten my hair anymore because I was going with that whole hippie vibe. So yeah, I just let my freak flag fly with my hair and wore it how it naturally is. So yeah, that's how I did my makeup for all 4 years of high school. I think this is interesting because looking back at it, I still do a lot of these things. Like, I think all of these things are still kind of present in me. I still really love wearing black. I still really love gold eyeshadow. I still really love straight hair, and I really love my wavy hippie hair. I wear a lot of hippie clothes on a regular basis, and I still wear those homemade moccasins. It's funny how we can be such different people in high school, but I can see how it all kind of comes together and culminates into the adult that we are when we're grown up. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye.